Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 24 of Sooner Girl Sports Pod. And I am wearing my Thunder shirt today as I record on Monday the 23rd. As most of you know, just last night, the Thunder won the NBA championship, and it was incredible. I think it's something that all of the state of Oklahoma can unite and come together and agree with. The Thunder has been so fun to watch this season. Been a great crowd at Paycom. If you've been out to any of the games, they've all been really energetic and fun games to attend. And the team has just been a special group, and it's been so fun to watch them throughout the season. And I know that's not something I normally talk about on here. I try to just stick to mainly OU's, but this was definitely something I could not ignore. And I'm so excited because if you're watching your video, you can see I am wearing my Thunder shirt, and I have my Rumble plush toy who stays on our bed in our guest room, our bedroom room that we have here at our house. And we have been huge Thunder fans from day one. We have followed the program since the team relocated and was rebranded as the Thunder. And my husband and I attended our first game, like the first or second season. They were in Oklahoma, and it's just been a long journey coming. We've made it to the playoffs, I believe 12 of the last 17 seasons, and to finally make it and go all the way is just a truly remarkable achievement. And in case you guys don't know this, I feel like I may have known this and forgot. I'm not sure, but I did want to make sure that everyone knew that there are some OU ties to the Thunder program. One of those being that the OU women's gymnastics assistant coach, Ashley Kerr, is married to the Thunder head coach, Mark Daignault. And so Mark finally got his ring last night. And as we all know, the OU women won the gymnastics national championship back in April. So that is one happy household this year. Coming out on top with the programs that they coach, it's going to be hard to top for that family. So congratulations to Mark Daignault and the Oklahoma City Thunder, and to Coach Ashley Kerr and just their family and all the sacrifices and time that they give to the organization. And I also want to say there's one more tie with the OU program to the Thunder organization as well. Most of you probably know this, but our former Sooner, current on-air analyst, Gabe Eichert, is married to Caroline Cameron, and her family that owns American Fidelity is also part owner in the Thunder. And so most of you know Gabe is a pretty permanent fixture on the sidelines at the Thunder games. He's really fun to watch if you catch him on the camera. And him and Teddy talk very frequently about the Thunder on their podcast, the Oklahoma Breakdown, as well. So it's just cool to have those OU ties to the Thunder organization, and as collectively as a state, is a great win and a great push forward for the state. So Thunder up, everybody. Congratulations to that team for that. So on this week's episode, I would like to introduce my guest, OU soccer coach Matt Mott and senior forward Hadley Murrell. Matt is entering his third season as the head coach at the University of Oklahoma. He came to OU in April of 2023 after 13 seasons at Ole Miss. He recruited and coached 6 All-Americans, 20 All-Region selections, 25 All-Conference recipients, 1 SEC Freshman of the Year, 6 all-freshman team members, and 26 conference players of the week throughout his 14-year head coaching career. 6 of Matt's athletes have gone on to be selected in the National Soccer League Amateur Draft. His clubs have made 1 NCAA Sweet 16, 6 NCAA Tournament appearances, and 10 Conference Tournament appearances. The 2023 Sooners advanced past the Big 12 Tournament opening round for just the 6th time in program history, defeating Oklahoma State in Bedlam in round 1. A Norwood, New York native, Matt obtained a bachelor's degree in general studies, and he minored in criminal justice from UCF in 2000, and also earned an Associate of Science degree in 1994 from Erie Community College in Buffalo, New York. Before college, Matt spent 4 years in the U.S. Coast Guard, where he played and coached with the Coast Guard select team in Portsmouth. Matt holds a National B coaching license from the United States Soccer Federation. In addition to coaching positions, he has served as goalkeepers coach for the USYSA Region 3 Olympic Development Program team since 2003. Matt is married to the former Jennifer Swartz, and they have 2 sons, Dean and Will, and a daughter named Tacey. You can find him on Instagram and Twitter, X, at Coach Matt Mott. And as usual, I will link all of that into the show notes. And Hadley Murrell, she is going into her senior year at OU, and that she has played soccer for us all 4 years. She's majoring in marketing. She has always been an OU fan and loved OU her whole life. It was a dream school for her, and it really felt like home when she visited the very first time. And her favorite memory is beating Texas at home, which we host Texas at home again this fall. It is on Sunday, October the 20th. And so mark your calendars for that, and you want to get out, and hopefully Hadley will get to beat Texas again at home for her senior year. And you can find Hadley on Twitter and Instagram. She is at Hadley with 2 Y's Murrell. And again, I will link their social media handles in the show notes and on social media throughout the week as I tag them on the post. So I hope you guys enjoy this fantastic interview with the amazing Coach Matt Mott of OU Soccer and senior forward Hadley Murrell. I think I'm bad luck to the soccer team. I was telling her which games I came to last year. So I said, before I tell you which ones, I'm going to go ahead and apologize. But for my bad luck, I guess. But I was at Georgia and the Mississippi State match, which was the very first SEC event on campus. So that's what drew me into that one. But anyway, my apologies, but I'm hoping that changes because I'm planning to come back.
Good. Please do.
I will. So my husband is actually an OSU grad. So I saw where Bedlam Soccer is in August in Norman. So I will absolutely be at that one for sure.
Awesome.
And so I do intend to make it to at least one more as well. You know, I don't have a schedule yet, so as soon as it drops, I'll get that figured out for sure. So
I think the non-conference schedule is coming out Wednesday.
Perfect. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I love a good schedule. I like to put it in my planner and get all set and ready to go. So
sure.
Well, thank you, Matt. I told Hadley, thanks for taking the time to come on with me. I really appreciate it because I feel like soccer is one of those sports, especially female athletes, that often get overlooked. But whatever platform I have, I want to take that and get to visit with female athletes and just different sports and put those out there for everybody to hear about. So I
Thank
appreciate
you for that.
Of course, I appreciate you taking the time to come on. So tell me a little bit about your soccer camps. Is it just for this week, or do you have it multiple times in the summer, or how does that work?
No, we have something for everybody. We have day camps, which are right now are really kind of younger kids, 5 to 13. It's really more fun, and getting really to love soccer is the goal. But they go to the pool, so it's really a fun week of camp. And then have this Saturday we have ID camp, which is for players that are wanting to come maybe to Oklahoma or have us take a look at them, and a little bit more of a recruiting camp. And then on Sunday we have overnight residential camp, which is for a little bit higher level player.
Okay.
You know, that's maybe, I think that age is maybe 9 to 15, but it's for girls and boys and you know, kids that are just kind of in club, but they're not ready really for the recruiting part yet and just want to still have fun at camp, but focus on soccer. And we do a lot of skill training in that one. They get to play games and that kind of stuff. So we have a little bit something for everybody. We do the same thing in July, so it rolls back over. First part of right after July 4th, we do a day camp again, and then a residential camp, and then an ID camp. So kind of 2 weeks of each type of camp. Yeah, it's fun.
Okay. So Hadley, the players, do you guys help with camp, or are you guys involved in that in any way?
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Awesome.
Right now.
Okay.
I think players that are more local are helping out for the June camps, and then I report back in July, so me and a couple other girls will help out for the July camps too.
Okay, so your season starts early August, is that when you guys start? Okay,
yeah.
So after camp's over, it'll be pedal to the metal, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, we we're early, just like football and volleyball, and so the girls come back, the players come back, I should say, beginning the middle of July, and start to work out with our strength coach, and they have captains practices and go out and train kind of together and just get themselves ready. We as coaches can't do anything with them until July 28th. They report July 28th, and we start on July 29th. So it's actually coming quicker than I can imagine, Hadley, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And just in time for the summer heat.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
I'm excited for a new soccer season because, like I said earlier, last season was my first time to attend a soccer match. And so the two that I came to, I hope I bring better luck this season because I do want to come back. I honestly don't know a ton about soccer and I want to. I don't. And since I've started doing my podcast just earlier this year, I've really been more particular and like meticulous about following all the different teams and everything. Of course, I'm a big football girl and a big softball girl. I'm really trying to get more familiar with soccer, volleyball. I went to my first tennis matches this spring for men and women, and I found out we have a hockey, it's a club sport, but a women's hockey team starting in the fall, and so I talked to Corey, who is starting that. And so I'm just trying to find all of the sports that sometimes get overlooked, and I really want to immerse myself in those because you guys do a lot of work and don't always get a big platform for that. And I just want to thank you for all of your hard work, both of you, and try to give you some accolades for that and whatever my attendance can mean. Last year I brought a couple of friends to the first game, and the second game I came to, I brought some of my nieces. So actually there were really good crowds when I was there last year. So have you guys always had a pretty good crowd, or have you just seen that grow over the years, or Hadley, I guess maybe you've been there a little bit longer.
Hadley, go ahead.
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's definitely growing. I think specific games obviously attract bigger crowds, like the one you came to was the first SEC game, but I think we're starting to get more attention and we're starting to also kind of go out of our way with social media and going to the other sports and trying to get them to come to our games and having other sports throw t-shirts out. And so I think things like that help a lot for us.
I agree. I believe when I was there, one of the games, I think it was the baseball boys that threw out shirts, and I know like part of the band was there and maybe some of the cheer girls. I can't remember. And one of the mascots was there, Boomer Sooner. And so, I think that getting that crowd engagement, and like you said, social media has its pros and cons, but I think we have to focus on the good part of it and use it to our advantage. So, Matt, you're coming into your third season, correct, at OU. So, you've had Hadley all of your years at OU. So, have you had a lot of transfers come in, or do you have pretty consistent roster, or how is that working?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I just want to touch on the attendance too. We've been really fortunate. It's grown. We've set the record the last 2 years of attendance. I think going in the SEC has helped that for sure. And I think people want to be on campus in the fall, right? It's football season, as we know, and people want to come. They come in for the weekends for the football games or whatever, and they want to. And then I think the other part's going to be winning, right? The more we win, the bigger the crowds. But we're really fortunate this year. And Oklahoma State at home in the second game of the season early in August. And then we also have Texas at home. I think it's our last game, which will be a great – every time those two guys are in town, it's a great crowd, right? So, but we've been really fortunate. I mean, every game – we don't have a game where there's a bad crowd. Good. Every game is a crowd, some bigger than others. And again, I think playing really – it's exciting this year. We have Florida coming to town and Texas A&M and Tennessee and some really good teams coming in. So it'll be certainly exciting time. But, it's been great. I love it. Coming from Ole Miss, it's a change for sure, but it's been a really exciting change and what I'm proud of. We've been very fortunate. We've been able to keep a really core group that were here before. Hadley's a big part of that, one of our key players. And it's crazy to think she's going to be a senior. When I first met her, she was going into her sophomore year. Who would ever thought she'd be a senior? It seems crazy that it went very fast. But it's been very fortunate. Sure. Yeah. And then we've done really well with the transfer portal. We've obviously recruited really strongly. I think, Oklahoma in the past, Oklahoma State's really kind of beaten Oklahoma with Oklahoma players. And I thought that was something that we really focused on to really do a better job recruiting in the state. And then we obviously have Dallas right up the road that has great players. And so we've been able to do that. And then we've definitely filled it in kind of with transfers. And we've been lucky to recruit some really high power, big time transfers and that are really important pieces to our team. So it's kind of a mix of everything. It's some guys that were here, and then we've brought in some good freshmen. And then we've also obviously added some transfers.
Well, I know the portal giveth and taketh across the board for all sports.
Sure.
And so I know it's a battle, but you just try to focus on everybody has to do what's best for them, and you look and just try to find someone that's compatible coming in to fill that spot. So that's good to hear that's worked out pretty good so far for you guys. So Okay, so how many girls are on the roster? Because I literally have no clue.
Yeah, it's a good question. So we, now with the House case and all the stuff that's going on with the NCAA, we have a roster limit of 28. So this coming
Okay.
fall, we will have 28.
Okay.
Last year we had 29.
Okay.
And then this year we'll have 28. So that's
Okay.
a good solid number for us. You're always kind of dealing with injuries. We do carry a roster of 3 goalkeepers.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 goalkeepers, 25 field players is typically, kind of what you want.
Okay, cool. So Hadley, you've been at OU all of your collegiate career. And I know you said to me that you grew up, wanting to come to OU, and that was your goal your whole life. So tell me just a little bit. So are you from Dallas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're from Texas, but your family, I'm assuming, are possibly OU fans.
They are now. It's kind of crazy.
Okay.
My dad played baseball, and out of high school, he got drafted to play professionally, but he was
Nice.
actually committed to the University of Texas.
Okay.
So that's a little rivalry we have. Yeah,
Yes.
he'll put the horns down now that I'm here.
Okay, at least once a year, I hope.
Yes.
I was thinking earlier when you were talking about, Bedlam bringing in the crowds and Texas. Of course, anytime, and, with my husband being a Poke, anytime I had an opportunity to go to Stillwater with him, I was like, if Texas is playing, I can do this all day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to wear orange, but I can wear black, and I can do this all day long.
Yep.
So it's funny, like I do try to make my rounds to all the sports, basketball, men's and women's, and baseball, of course, and softball, and I always try to hit the Texas series, and if there's a Bedlam game, of course. So yeah, those 2 rivalries mean a lot. So coming from your house,
Yes.
it means a lot more. So that's a cool story. I'm glad you ended up in Norman.
Me too.
So, and I think you told me that one of your favorite memories was beating Texas. So now that makes a whole lot more sense.
Yes, by far favorite memory.
I bet so. Was that in Norman? Or
It was.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Made it even sweeter.
tell me a little bit about that. I guess your parents were there.
Yes, they were. My parents, my grandparents live locally, my siblings.
Okay.
I had a big family crowd there, which was awesome. It was Matt's first OU Texas too.
Okay.
It was.
Okay.
It was his first season. We were doing okay. We weren't doing the best we could, but we were having a good season. But that game just blew it up for us. I mean, nothing's better than that game. You can't explain the feeling of
imagine.
playing Texas and that rivalry game so much, beating them. I mean, it was so much fun.
Well, I know how much joy I get as a fan because I am the furthest thing from an athlete you'll ever meet. But I do love sports, obviously. But just the joy I get as being a fan when we beat Texas or beat OSU is just almost insurmountable sometimes. So I can only imagine as an athlete, coach, and especially you with that being that special family rivalry. So that's really cool.
Yes. I still watch the hype video and get chills to this
day. Bet so. Yes, I bet so. I don't blame you at all. Okay, so on the slate coming up this fall, what is something that you guys have coming up that you would like to maybe say, hey, we really want to get a lot of people here for our opener or for Bedlam? What is something maybe just that you would like to focus on for the season?
Yeah, I think, we have a really good schedule. We have a really strong home schedule, which is exciting. When you open up with Creighton, we have 2 exhibition games in Dallas to start. We play TCU, and then we actually play the Dallas Trinity, which is a pro team in Dallas, we played them last year. It was a really good game. Actually, Hadley scored the game winner in that game, which was pretty exciting. And then we have, I think, 6 of our 8 non-conference games, I think, are at home. So it's a really heavy home slate, which is great. We play some really good teams. So, yeah, we'd love people to come out for sure. And we play a really attractive brand of soccer. I think it's fun for fans to watch. We are pressing and we run really hard. We work really hard and we want to make it exciting. And, we really love to score goals. And so it's really a fun group to watch. It's a fun group. I think I'm a little biased maybe, but to cheer for because the players work really hard and they're very engaging with the fans after. And, we have a cool little handshake rail at the end where the fans come down and the players shake hands. They also have ways to set up to come and be, when we come out, they set a big tunnel for us to come out. And so a lot of that, it's really a fun environment. We do a good job with students and families, and it's kind of for everybody, anybody that enjoys soccer. And, we play in the evenings most of the time, so it's not too terribly hot.
Yes.
It's not like it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon in August. So yeah, we love our stadium. And our Oklahoma fans are just awesome. we'd love anybody to come out, watch us, and support us. And again, I think the more we're successful, the more crowds are going to come out. It's cool to be part of Oklahoma sports, because if you look at how well all the sports do, and we want to be one of those, and we want to be one of those that carry the flag in the fall for us. So we know football gets a ton of attention, and for good reason, and they provide us a lot of really great things being part of Oklahoma. So we just want, as much support as we can get, for sure. And we appreciate you having this platform for us, for sure.
Well, I'm happy to have you guys on, because like I said, I'm trying to continue to grow my knowledge for the sport as well. And I know there's so many people. That was one of my things when I started doing this, was as a girl, I'm sure, Hadley, you get this part, and I don't know what other sports you enjoy watching, but like for me, I've always loved football. And I grew up watching it with my dad as a daddy's girl. But as I've grown to know the sport and love it, a lot of times people are like, well, you're just a girl. They kind of just think you don't really know a lot about whatever sport it may be. Well, I truly love all sports. Like, I love baseball, softball, basketball, all of it. And I just feel like that girls need the space to take up, to have a voice and say, hey, I like watching sports. And maybe I found that there's girls that they want to know more, but they're kind of scared to ask about it because they don't want to get made fun of, or they don't know who to ask. And I'm just like, hey, I don't know everything, but I can school you on some football and even some softball. And so I've just really had fun doing this. And like I said, there's so many female athletes. I'm still working on, I'd love to get a tennis player on, volleyball. I'm still working on that too. But I had a golfer on. She is actually from my hometown. And so I was able to connect with her through some mutual friends. So I had her on in April. And it's just been really cool to talk to people who don't get that platform. And a lot of people don't think about soccer. And I think it's a good time to remind them, hey, you guys are playing in the fall, like you mentioned, Matt. For those football home weekends, there could be a Friday night match. I came to one of those last year. I know there was a home football game. I believe actually it was a Thursday night soccer game, Saturday football game. But nevertheless, it's doable for us out of town people to try to figure something out to make it to a game. And it's a lot of fun. And I think, back to what I was saying just about women, like women athletes, like they deserve that platform and that space to get the recognition that they deserve. And soccer is one of those that sometimes gets overlooked, so to speak. So I am more than happy to shout from the rooftops and tell people like, hey, go to a soccer game this weekend when you're up there for football, or basketball season starts. And I know it's really hard, like me being from out of town, because everything overlaps, like basketball starts in the fall, and then your diamond sports start early in the spring before basketball is over. And I try to make all the things, and it's hard, but if you're meticulous about it, you can make it work. And so that's what I'm trying to encourage people to do. Like, get your calendar out, write the schedule down, and figure it out, because it's worth it. And like I said, going to my first couple of games last season and my first tennis matches earlier this spring, you get to recognize the players. Like, I started following Hadley and some of the girls on social media, and some of the tennis players as well, and you recognize their names, and you see them playing on the court or the field, and you kind of get attached to them a little bit, and you have that pride. And so I think that encourages you also, like, oh, okay, I'm going to go back to another game, because that's kind of how I felt about it even before I started doing what I'm doing. Is I went and I thought, I'm going to start following these people and watching them, and then you get that attachment and you want to go back. So again, using social media for its good side to get to know the players.
I think, Larissa, it's what you said is great, and I agree with you. And I think the more the platforms they have, the better. And I think they're really high level athletes, right? And again, if you're going to be able to make a roster at the University of Oklahoma, you have to be the top 1% of the athlete in your sport, whatever the sport is. Mm-hmm. So we're really fortunate. And again, Hadley's been just a rock for us the whole time, really one of our top players since I've stepped on campus. And there's players like that we have that are really fun to come out and really fun to support, right? She wears number 5, and I'm sure there's a lot of little girls that are, fans of number 5 because Hadley's out there playing. So it's really a neat opportunity to come and be part of it, and really all of the sports. Our team is growing and getting better every day and day by day, and we have an exciting fall coming. We'd love for people to come out and watch us.
Perfect.
Hey, good luck following that, Hadley.
Yeah, thank you. I would just also encourage people to come out. I mean, as players, we work our butts off every day, and the best thing to look up into the stands is just see it full. I mean, when we're walking out, I'm a senior, and I still remember when I was a freshman walking out and just looking up and holding back tears because I'm just so amazed at like how far I've come, the girls I'm standing next to, and how many people are here watching.
That's awesome.
And I don't think anything can beat it. I personally have made close relationships with people that I had no idea who they were coming in, but they've just followed the games and they followed me. For example, Matt was saying someone who wears number 5. There's a little girl named Hadley, and she's number 5 on her club team. And I met her my freshman year, and we still talk. We still connect after almost every game. I'm close with her family. So things like that just mean a lot, and nothing means more than people coming out to support us.
Well, that means a lot to that little girl, and I'm sure that you know that because you also were that little girl back when. I just think that even somebody like me, I can still fangirl over you guys a little bit because, like you said, Matt, like you have to be so elite to make a roster at the University of Oklahoma. And that is so cool. Like I've been a sports fan, an OU fan my entire life, and I can't even wrap my brain around what it would mean to me to be on that roster, any roster. But it's a super elite club that you guys are a part of, and those kids, you're like movie stars to them, and I'm sure that you know that, but it's just that way, and I see it at every event that I go to, and I do remember seeing little kids at the soccer games I attended last season, and I know that those kids look up to you guys so much, and so for you to take the time to invest in that particular little girl and all the other ones that you have, that means a lot to them and their parents, and it's something that they will carry with them over the years for sure. And Mark Williams, the gymnastics coach a few months ago as well, and he was talking about their partnership with one of the elementary schools that they've had for years, and those kids come, and they were actually at the meet that I attended this past spring. It was their night to like be the MC and do all the things, and those kids were on cloud 9. And so to see those kids and interacting with those athletes and vice versa, and then just remembering them from years past, and the athletes go to the school and do like a field day with them and stuff like that, but just giving back to the fans and the community, like that means so much. And so to hear you say all of that, that really does mean a lot. So, okay, so if Anne or a child, if they wanted to be a part of the tunnel, like when you guys run on the field, they can do that?
Yeah. So, they would just get ahead of our marketing group. The other thing I'd like to say, too, is, it's kind of neat being a Sooner, because when we're home, we get this great support. But when we go on the road, we're hated. And it's kind of fun to play in, And that's cool. It's a whole different arena, but it's kind of fun. We talk a lot about there's nothing better than silencing 5,000 fans when you score a goal, right? When we're in another, and in the SEC, it's just everywhere you go. It's the crowds are packed. People want to come see the Sooners.
That's
so
awesome.
We draw great crowds. Yeah. And it's fun. But we like when the Sooner fans are on the road too. So,
sure.
We have our little section of parents and fans, and they're awesome. You see it in softball at the OKC, right? They have their section. Well, OKC, it's almost all Oklahoma. But, you have your little section of parents, and that's what we have. And it's so cool. And our parents tailgate, and it's a lot of fun. But, yeah, if you see us on the road, or you can go to a away game, we'd love to see you for sure. Anybody that comes out, we appreciate the support.
Absolutely, yes. What's the toughest road environment that you guys have played in?
Personally, I would say either I have a top 3.
Okay.
Obviously, the Texas and Oklahoma State, which I feel like that's just a given.
Yeah, that's
and then
true.
LSU for me.
Okay.
I thought LSU, they had some rowdy fans, which again, it's fun. I enjoy that.
Yes.
But they were.
I think they have rowdy fans just across the board from my personal experience, so that makes sense. I've also heard that Florida fans are pretty rowdy, so I don't know if you guys have traveled there yet. But
we beat them last year. Hadley scored the goal to beat them.
Oh, that's
perfect.
Awesome. Yes, okay. Well, I've heard they have quite the rowdy crew as well. So yeah. So yeah, like you said, it's fun to attend road games. Like I usually try to go to an away football game, and just being there with fellow OU fans, like that camaraderie of just being there, and you don't even know these other fans, but you're just like
Sure.
Boomer, and you feel like you know them, and you're
Yeah.
like friends now, you know. So it's a lot of fun.
Sure.
So and it's that way with every sport. So yeah, definitely. And you mentioned that you guys have a couple exhibition games in Dallas. Like that's close.
Yeah, absolutely.
People can
Yeah.
go to that. So that would be a fantastic. And there's lots of OU fans in Dallas. So that's a
Absolutely.
great place to start with the camaraderie there.
Yes, for sure.
Texas A&M's another one's kind of tough to play at.
Okay.
They like to yell. They like to yell the whole time. Yeah, but
they're
good.
pretty rowdy too. So I've been to a football game down there, but it's been years ago. So they're pretty rowdy. So okay, well I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I appreciate you guys so much for doing this. Do you have any more closing thoughts before we part ways?
No, I just say thanks so much for having us, Larissa. It's really been fun to be on with you. I would say I love your little logo, except it needs a soccer ball. You need to add a soccer ball in your little logo. The sooner you're
That was a struggle for me when I first started doing it. Like I really thought about this because I can't get everything on there. And I thought, I want to cover everybody. I want to encompass this. So maybe I do need to get a little modification going on. That's really funny that you said that. I might have to see what I can do about that.
Well, no, thank you very much for having us on. We really, really appreciate it.
I hope you guys enjoyed this interview with Coach Matt Mott of OU Soccer and senior forward Hadley Murrell. They were so much fun to talk to. And as I mentioned in my interview with them, I attended my first soccer games at OU just last fall. I was able to attend 2 of those events. And it was so much fun, you guys. Like the crowd's really into it. It's a smaller venue. There's always some student interaction, usually a small pet band, a mascot's there, and it's just a great, fun environment. So I hope you guys will get out this season and support them. And like I said, the keynote matchups that I am planning to attend this fall are on Sunday, August the 17th, which is Bedlam at home, and it is Sunday, October 19th. We have Texas at home. I will definitely be attending those 2 for sure, and I would love to see you out at the soccer field. So this week's Sooner headlines of the week. There is quite a lot that's been going on here in the quote off season. At time of recording, it is only 68 days until kickoff for football season. It is rapidly approaching. We have the SEC Media Days coming up here in the next few weeks. In July, a lot's happened. We had Champion Barbecue this past weekend. Jaden O'Neal was one of our quarterback commits in the 2026 class, and he decommitted on Thursday or Friday of last week, which honestly came to no surprise to most of us who had been following the recruiting information for a while, because the information that came out not long after that was the commitment of Bo Bentley out of Salina, Texas for the 2026 class. That is the quarterback we were trying to get. That is the one that Ben Arbuckle has snatched, and what a catch for him and the program. It is just a wonderful commit. He is already in Norman this past weekend and tagging his friends saying who wants to come play catch in Norman, doing his own recruiting. So it's a really good nab for OU football. So I'm very excited for that one. We also had a 5-star 2026 kicker commit, Trace Rudd. He made a 67-yarder on multiple occasions, 60-plus yarders made over the weekend. So that's music to the ears of many Sooner fans for sure. I just saw today on social media that former quarterback and current Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts has a kids book coming out on March 10th, 2026. It's called Better Than a Touchdown. So mark your calendars. I know that's definitely one I'm going to want to get to add to my library. It looks super cute. Great kids book coming out by our former Sooner Jalen, and we will want to support that. For men's basketball, we had our SEC opponents announced. The reigning national champ Florida, Final Four team Auburn will be coming to Norman. Also, Texas and Bama will be at home in Norman this season as well. And if you're following the NBA draft, which that starts on Wednesday, which is the day that this podcast drops, if you're following any of that information leading up to it, you may have seen that our former Sooner Jalen Moore tore his Achilles in a pre-draft workout late last week. And after what happened with Tyrese Halliburton in the Thunder game just last night, boy, that is not a fun thing to see. It's a horrible, horrible injury, and I hate that for him. So we wish our for former Sooner Jalen a quick recovery. Our women's basketball, again, our SEC opponents were announced for the upcoming season, and we have South Carolina and Dawn Staley coming to Norman, and I know they're an attraction in and of themselves. Of course, I have a lot of respect for Dawn Staley and the program that she's built and the work that she does, but you guys, let's get out and support our OU women this fall and winter as the basketball season starts. We all know that you guys can get out and support if you can make it at 3:00 on a Monday afternoon for a Sweet 16 bid in March Madness. You can get out this regular season and support them as well. Like I said, I know we have South Carolina and Dawn Staley coming into Norman, as well as LSU and Kim Mulkey. So there's going to be some great games to see, and our squad is going to be incredible. Of course, we have a lot of returners in Peyton Volhurst, Reagan Beard, Beatrice Culleton. We got Elia Chavez coming in. We got Zaya Van still hanging around. It's going to be a great season. Coach Jenny B is incredible. So be sure and be on the lookout for those schedules to come out here in the next few months. And in case you missed it, our own Jenny B is going to be an assistant coach for Team USA in the AmeriCup in Chile this summer. And also Reagan Beers will be a part of that team. So congrats to them for making it through those trials in Colorado just last week. I was able to take my niece to OU basketball camp last week, and one day it was my turn to take her. And when I was there, I was able to meet Lexi Keys and Beatrice Culleton, and they were so, so sweet. I was able to tell them about the pod. I invited them to come on. And it was just so cool to see the program that they have built and how those players, Zaya Van and several others, it was so cool to see those girls investing into the future of Oklahoma basketball. And it was just a really neat experience. My niece had the best time. She truly learned a lot, made some new friends, made some great connections. She's only 10, so she's pretty new at playing basketball, but she truly had a blast. And it was really neat to see those girls turning around investing into our future generations. And we also in gymnastics news, in case you missed it, Jordan Bowers, who just graduated this past season, and Raydell Gamboa. They have been a couple for several years now and quite the social media favorite, but they got married this past weekend and it seemed like such a sweet, beautiful wedding. So congratulations to them. They have a lot of accomplishments between the two of them. I'm sure they're going to have some very athletic babies who will hopefully someday be future Sooners. For softball in the transfer portal, Hannah Core has transferred to Nebraska. It was just announced late last week. She will be joining her friend and former Sooner Jordy Ball for her last season in Lincoln. And Maya Bland has transferred to Texas A&M. Katie Lee McKay to UNT and Denton, and Corey Hicks to Clemson. So best of luck to those former Sooners on their new endeavors. And welcome to Sydney Berzon, who is the one lone pitcher and portal catch that we did get this season. Patty said she didn't really feel the need to stack or rebuild or load up from the portal. We really only had one need with a veteran pitcher. We got that in Sydney Berzon, so I'm very excited to have her join the team this coming season. If you were able to get out to the AU games that were held at Loves Field this weekend, it was really a neat experience. On Friday night, Coach Gasso threw out the first pitch. She had a little reunion. They filmed a special presentation with Patty, Sid Romero, Tiara Jennings, and Sam Landry, who were on those two teams, the Talons and Volts, that were playing in Norman this weekend. They did record a special presentation that they announced will be coming out sometime soon. But it was just really neat to see Patty also up in the broadcasting booth that Friday night with Amanda Scarborough and the rest of the AU crew. It was just really neat that Norman got to be a part of that this season, especially as next season there's going to be a lot of changes in the realm of professional softball. So anytime we can get out and have a chance to support the teams in whatever aspect it may be, I think it's very important to do so. I was able to get out, meet up with a couple of friends from my locker room. We had coffee at Stella Nova, hung out at the game, and shout out to my friend Casey, my friend Kim for coming to the game with me, and of course, Pi Pi, which is Casey's mom. Shout out to her. She was sporting her Sooner Girl Sports Pod merch at the AU game on Sunday night, so shout out to her for that. I love you guys so much. Thanks for your support. I was also able to make it out to 2 Spark games this past week. I went to the season opener, which just so happened to be on Father's Day. They're playing at Oklahoma Christian University this season, and it's really a great venue, you guys. It's pretty small and intimate. The weather has been pretty fantastic so far. Now, they don't play again at home until July 20th. Probably will be a little warmer there. But pro tip, if you sit up in the reserved chairbacks, they're $40 a seat in sections A, B, and C, you will be in the shade. So keep that in mind. They do have outfield options and right field, just general admission, first come, first serve bleachers. They're only $15 a pop. So if you feel like braving the sun and want to save a little money, there you go. I prefer to be in the shade. So I will actually be there on July 20th when they come back home after a month-long stint on the road, and I'm looking forward to it. But I was able to meet up with Tina Floyd, and who owns the Spark, and Amber Flores, coach, a former Sooner. And it was so great to see them after hosting them on the pod earlier this season. They are on episodes 8 and 9 if you want to go back and listen back in March. Just incredible people, former Sooners, lots of women in that organization doing great things, lots of former Sooners on staff, of course, as well as our players. It was just so much fun. I wish I could have attended their home run derby that they hosted on Friday night, but I had a prior obligation. But Kenzie, Riley, and Sydney Sherrill were on the team that won the home run derby. And you can go back and watch it on the Spark YouTube channel. All of their games are broadcast on their YouTube channel, by the way, their home games. I'm not sure about the away games. They will be on the road next weekend in Colorado. So I will update on if those will be available on the YouTube channel or not, because I want to try to watch them, but I'm not sure of their availability. So stay tuned on that. But you should go back and watch the home run derby for sure. It was on Friday night, June 20th, and the celebrity game from Saturday, June the 21st. They were both a lot of fun to watch. And so if you get a chance, just go back and watch those again on their OKC Spark YouTube channel. But Kenzie hit 28 home runs in 2.5 minutes. Just having the ball fed to her. And so that's what toppled their team of her, Riley, and Sydney Sherrill to win their home run derby. And they swept the New York Rise team this past week, Sunday through Wednesday, 4-game sweep. And that's a talented roster, you guys. Former Sooner Sophia Nugent is a catcher for them, and they have a lot of great power hitters on that team. Carly Spade, she hit the very first home run ever at left field on opening weekend in 2024, lest we forget when OU hosted Miami of Ohio. I was there. Carly Spade, excellent hitter. She actually holds the second place in most home runs hit of all time, right behind Jocelyn Allo. Pretty distant second, though. Jossie is at 122, and Carly Spade is at 103. But that just goes to show you what kind of hitter she is. I believe now Tiare and Lauren Chamberlain are number 3 and 4 on that list. So 3 out of 4 Sooners in the top 4 all-time home run hitters. Pretty incredible. But Carly Spade's a great player. Getting to see her play was a lot of fun. So again, on that New York Rise team. And I do believe the Spark will be playing them in Colorado next week. I think they come back to Oklahoma City before the end of the season. I could be wrong on that. But if you get a chance to watch them, it's definitely worth the talent. And the Florida Vibe is another team that the Spark will be playing. That's who they will play when they return back home in July. Again, another great roster. These pro rosters are incredible. So get out and support them and check out those wonderful players if you get a chance. Soccer, the full schedule was released. I know I mentioned this again just earlier, but Bedlam on August 17th, Texas coming to Norman on Sunday, October the 19th. You're not going to want to miss those games, especially those are the marquee games. There's plenty other home game opportunities for you to get out. Some of them even coinciding with the football schedule. So for you out-of-towners like myself, if it's important to try to find a time to combine your road trips, your mileage, or something like that, it's great to be able to get out and support another team in addition to the football team on your road trips. Also, our former Sooner alum, Jake Woodley, in wrestling, he won the 3 ring at LFA 211 on Friday night. That was on social media. I do share that in my stories. So again, just a plug for following me on social media. I'm at Sooner Girl Pod on literally all platforms, but I share a lot of like up to the minute current stuff like this on my Facebook and Instagram stories, as well as on Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it. That's just a great place to get like your more current day-to-day up to the minute updates like that. For example, if you want to follow along with some more information with some of the smaller sports that you may not get a lot of information out in the mainstream, I follow a lot of accounts to get that information, and I do share it on my social media. So do feel free to go give me a follow. But again, congrats to Jake Woodley. That's really cool. I love to see our Sooners at the next level, even though they don't always get the recognition that they deserve. It's so cool to see them excelling past their OU days in the next phase of their life. We also had on volleyball our incoming freshman, Allie Lasandoli. She's Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Washington. She is coming to Norman in the fall. So volleyball schedule should be released in the next month or so. They usually start in late August or September. So again, you'll want to get out and support our volleyball team. They play in McCaslin Fieldhouse. Again, there'll probably be some games that coincide with football season, so you'll want to get out and support those girls. For tennis, Chloe Noel from France. She is our singles finalist and doubles finalist with her partner Severine Depner at the W15 Norges La Ville. And our Sooner also Julia Garcia Ruiz and partner won doubles in Kansas at the W35 in Wichita. And incoming freshman Etta Mamendova won the W15 Kasari title in Turkey this past weekend as well. For track and field, Floyd Whitaker holds the 4th spot overall in OU history in the triple jump. Pipalata Enoch holds the number 5 overall spot in high jump. Those are top 10 records in OU history that those guys hold, and it's really cool what all that they accomplished, not only at the national championships, but just in overall OU history. It's really cool to give those guys some recognition. For golf, Asher Whitaker won the 15th Raylor Kansas Stroke Play champ at Sand Creek Station just yesterday on Sunday. So congratulations to him as a Sooner as well. And our former Sooner cheerleader, who is now a race car driver, Taylor Reimer, she had the Elko race on Saturday. I was able to tune into a little bit of that just very briefly. It's just so cool to have a connection with these former Sooners who, again, have moved on to the next phase of their life, and whatever that may be, they're still competing in something at some level. Just to have a connection and someone to follow. Taylor Reimer is a great example of me doing that, because I'm not a racing fan at all. I don't have a lot of knowledge in that at all, but I really truly enjoyed making that connection with her and being able to follow her in what she is doing now. And I interviewed Taylor for the podcast, and her episode will be coming out in early August. It's a really cool episode. We talked about her time cheering at OU and then now as a race car driver. So if you get a chance, go give her a follow on social media and check out some of her races and her race car, and just give her a follow if you're especially if you're into racing. I give you that connection there, that OU connection, and just someone to follow. Okay, for my Sooner fun fact of the week. During the 2022 spring season, Oklahoma was the only men's golf team in the country to have 2 of its players on the Haskins Award watch list as candidates for the annual Player of the Year award. Our eventual award winner was Chris Gotterup and Sooner teammate Logan McAllister. They were both in the running, and you probably recognize those names because, again, they now play at the next level, and Chris Gotterup just won a tournament just a couple of weeks ago. So it's so fun to have those Sooner connections and, again, be able to watch all of our athletes at the next level. So in case you missed it on social media, I made a big announcement over the weekend regarding a fun series that I have starting with the podcast in July. It is called Crimson Chronicles, Sooner Born or Sooner Built. And I will be featuring fans, and they will be telling their stories on how they become a fan, whether they were Sooner born, like myself, just born into it, grew up with it, grown to love it. It's just what we are. Or if they were Sooner Built, maybe they didn't grow up being a Sooner fan, but somewhere along the way they became one, and they have their own stories to tell as well. My first episode of the Crimson Chronicles will be dropping in mid-July, and my very first guest will be my best friend, Karen. And if you know me personally, you follow me personally, you're very familiar with Karen. Karen and I have been friends for 25 years. She did not grow up an OU fan, but I converted her 25 years ago and have I take credit for making her into the OU fan that she is today. So I have convinced her somehow. I may have to drug her or liquor her up or something to get her to come on the pod, but she has agreed to record with me when I see her in July. And I will be dropping that episode in mid to late July. And you guys won't want to miss this. I have several fans that I have talked to or that have reached out to me that I'm going to be featuring throughout the fall. It's not something that's going to be like, oh, for a whole month, every episode is a random fan or a name you don't know, someone talking about something. But I'm going to sprinkle these throughout the podcast series just for the foreseeable future. We'll see how it goes. But I have several fans who have brought up being willing to come on and talk about their fan stories and how they became an OU fan. And I'm so excited to get to share some of these with you. I haven't reached out to try to schedule any more fans right now, just because I kind of want to see how things go first with the few that I do have on deck. But if you are someone who might be interested in being a part of the Crimson Chronicles, I'm planning on trying to air these maybe one episode every 4 to 6 weeks or so, just kind of depending on the interest and the timing and things like that. But if you're someone who thinks you might be interested in that, go ahead and shoot me a message, or just kind of keep it in the back of your mind. I'm not looking to per se make a list right now or start keeping tabs of people who might be interested. But as time goes on, if these episodes pick up and become popular, it might be something where I reach out and say, hey, I'm looking for people. Shoot me a message. But again, just keep it in mind. I hope that you will tune into this series. I have my best friend Karen, of course. I wanted her to be the first one just because I feel like it's a fun connection and she has a great story. And I also have coming up another Bedlam couple. I'm going to have myself and my husband, who most of you know if you've been listening for a while that he is the Poke, an OSU grad. So we're going to be hosting a Bedlam couple on the pod and a sort of Crimson Chronicles / athletic episode interview here in the next couple of months as well. That one I'm pretty excited about. I also have another friend who's near and dear to me. She is definitely Sooner born, Sooner bred. So is her son. Her son is a member of the Pride of Oklahoma now, and I'm going to be interviewing them and hosting them on the show as well. So those are the next 3 Crimson Chronicles episodes that will be coming up in the next few months. So you have that to look forward to as well. So again, thank you guys so much for listening to the pod, sharing with a friend, following on social media. I'm at Sooner Girl Pod on all platforms. Be sure and invite your friends, download and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Again, if you have merch like Pi Pi, who wore it to the AU game, thank you, Pi Pi, you should send me a pic. If you want to order, we have tanks and visors, koozies, stickers for summertime. We still have tees, hoodies, and we have youth sizes available as well. Also, my link in bio is my link tree, and not only will the merch link be linked there, but also for Substack, my second edition of the Playbook monthly newsletter just came out this past week. So you can find that on my Substack website, and you can also subscribe to that for free to have that directly sent to your inbox each month. And again, if you want to be a part of our locker room, we did our in-person meetup at the AU game in Norman. We have a monthly huddle coming up on Sunday the 29th. We do those on Google Meet once a month. There's lots of other perks. You do get a discount code for merch if you join the locker room, and so many other things. We have our private chat and private stories on Instagram, just lots of fun things if you're interested in joining the locker room, things like that. You can find all of that information, my link in bio, on all my social media at Sooner Girl Pod. It's my link tree. Everything is linked there, all social media, podcast platforms, merch, advertising, sponsorship options, all the things. If you have any questions, you can always shoot me a message, shoot me an email at soonergirlsportspod@gmail.com. So I hope you guys have a fantastic week. I am super excited for the episodes coming up the rest of the summer. I have a really big name guest coming up in July. If you've missed it on social media, you're not going to want to miss the episode that drops on July 9th with the voice of the Sooners, Toby Rowland. He's incredible. He gave me part of his time for an interview, and he is truly one of the most humble, kind, nice guys. Cannot wait for you to hear that episode. Lots of great things coming up on the pod. So I hope you all have a fantastic week. Thunder up. Let's celebrate. Enjoy our Thunder win. And I will see you guys next Wednesday where we talk sports.